Badge Black Brick City. How is it working under Sharp James versus Cory Booker, the mayors of Newark?
I caught maybe like the last year and a half of Sharp James, his whole era or whatever. And Sharp James was cool. He was helpful. I know he did a lot for the city. He did a lot for the city, giving people jobs and things like that. Cory Booker, I was there for maybe I guess for the majority of his terms or whatever. But Corey he wasn't a bad person. You know, he tried to help people out, but it just seemed like he had a disconnection with the city, even though he said he lived on Hawthorne Avenue, whatever.
I know the mayor is supposed to be the head of the police departments. Is that correct?
I mean, we have a director. The director is really the head of the department, but the mayor oversees all that.
Okay, so did Sharp James and Cory Booker both support the Newark Police Department?
Yes, they did. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Was one more serious on crime than the other, or equal, or?
I think Corey was more serious on it because Corey had bigger aspirations. Like the mayor was just the first step for his whole political career.
Okay. How did the streets of Newark, New Jersey change when the gangs came, if you could remember that?
Well, that
The
was early.
Bloods, the
Yeah,
Crips,
that was
things
early in
like
my
that.
career. Yeah, the Grapes and all that. They everything changed. Like no one ever thought gangs would be in Newark like they have gotten. It's like that was a West Coast thing. That wasn't nothing to do with that. That wasn't an East Coast thing at all, especially in Jersey and Newark. So when they came, it's serious. They got their own language. Everything is very. They got so many different sectors of them gangs.
Okay, Newark also had the stolen car capital title for many years. What were those times like?
Cars racing up and down the street all night long, donuts. Um, every night, every car was a stolen car report. And then after the stolen cars, was big, and they stopped popping them headlights out. So the Maximas, the ones that popped out so quick. You get a call, you be right around the corner. You get a call. By the time you get there, the headlights is gone.
Hmm.
So all that was like around the same time.
Did you see a lot of stolen car crashes and things like
Yes.
that?
Mm-hmm.
Vehicular homicides, cars used in homicides, things of that nature?
I mean, I've seen a couple of vehicular homicides where stolen car rolling down the street, Broad Street, ran into a bus. Everybody, all three teenagers inside dead. I've seen plenty of times when you get behind a stolen car, they get away from you. They jump out the car while the car is running. Seen a lot of that.
Okay, how did the policing change in Newark when the cameras were installed? Because you remember there were none, and then it was just cameras everywhere. How did that change for y'all?
You talking about the cameras they put on the street or like the
Yes,
body cameras?
the
The
well,
street.
yes, the street cameras first. Then we'll go to the body
Okay, yeah, the
cams.
street cameras actually helped a lot because they had those gun detection
Monitors.
systems or whatever where if a gun was shot, it would tell you where the area was at because a gun being fired in Newark is like a normal occurrence. It's not like what was that? You know what it is already. So and the body cameras changed policing altogether. Like you couldn't. There should be a time where if you pull somebody over and say maybe they didn't have a license or they didn't have their registration wasn't right or their paperwork wasn't right altogether, you could tell them, park the car, come back, get the car later, or do something. Just don't do it right here. But the cameras, you can't give people breaks like that no more. It's hard because now you jam yourself up.
Um, when they tore down the projects in Newark, did the city change at all? Like what they tore down Prince Street, Grafton Ave. They
Yeah,
closed Seth
the
Borden.
close up boy. It changed because now all them people that lived over there had to go somewhere. So now you got parts of the city that used to be real quiet. Now you got different elements of people moving into the area, and it changed. It changed. It dispersed the crime throughout the whole city, basically. Like the Bellsburg area up by City Hall used to be really quiet. Then it became really busy because, you got people from all over town now live in different places.
Yeah. How did the city of Newark change when they started gentrifying it? With the Devil Stadium, the NJ Pack. They extended Interstate 280 to come down to 21, so people could just come in town and not see Newark. So how did that change things for the
Well,
police?
for policing, it put a greater emphasis on. They put a greater emphasis on the downtown area. They don't want no crime happening downtown because they look at that as that's their money. So don't mess with my money. But it takes away from policing up the hill per se. About the number streets, things like that. Because now you got more police downtown than you do up there where they need them at. Really, ain't no drug dealing going on really downtown. No, not in an open market like on the corners like might be up the hill.
Okay, I'm gonna change it a little bit. Do you feel any of the police involved killings were justified? Anything over the last few years, anything that you saw, not to say you would have done it, but were justified along the lines of being legal or being lawful?
Whew. It's been so many. It's a shame too. I'm trying to think if I had some examples, I could really get into it. Nothing I seen that was like on video. There was one case, but I can't remember which case it was.
Where
Where
you felt as though it was justified, like
right, I felt that it could go either way, but it was definitely justified because you holding a gun. Like, what is the officer supposed to do? It's either like your life or his life. I can't remember what case it was though.
understandable. This is a question that people may want to know. Why doesn't rather the police department shoot to wound people versus killing? Is it that they're not trained because of target practice or whatever to, shoot the wound versus kill? Like why is it that they always shoot to kill? Or is that the training? How does that go?
Well, our training when we go to the academy, when we go to qualify on the gun range, we're given like it's like a bottle, like a real big bottle shaped cardboard, and in the middle of it is like a Q, and it's like a circle, like a dot, like a polka dot or whatever. And you're trained to shoot center mass. We don't get trained to shoot no legs. We don't get trained to do wounds. We get trained for center mass.
On specific kind of guns too, also, correct?
That's correct. Yes, we carry like the Glock 40. I'm sorry, the Sig Sauer 40 caliber, and then we got the machine guns, AR-15s.
And those are issued by the police department, or is there a choice, or those are just standard issue?
A standard issue by the police department.
How did the police department feel about those guns? Because I know a lot of police departments, favor Glock. How did Newark feel about the SIGs?
Well, the SIGs are pretty good guns. They're pretty accurate. They a lot of towns now are going to the 9mm because it carries more rounds, and the SIG, the big gun was only carrying like 8 rounds. The 45 was only carrying 8 rounds. The 40 like 12, 13. But the accuracy that's shown by like FBI statistics is that the 9mm, which carries like 16, 17 shots, is a much better gun.
Were there any police involved shootings in Newark, rather, where the police shot somebody or was shot at a shot or stabbed? Anything that you could remember?
When the police did the shooting?
Yes.
I mean, they had that case with the guy who chased that guy and ended up shooting and killing him for like 5, 6, 7 blocks. I know a couple of officers that have been involved in off-duty shootings where somebody tried to like rob them and they end up shooting them. So I mean,
Are there cliques within the police departments?
yes.
And the cliques consist of what? Are they by race? Are they by You know, what affiliation makes?
Sometimes they by race, and then sometimes they by, like, if you're in a special unit, that's those your people. You know what I'm saying? Y'all watch each other back, make sure everybody comes home safe, gets home safely. So you click up. I guess it's just a natural human thing, just to click up with people that that you work with all the time and do certain things with.
Okay, over the years, also to switch it up because police officers were killed. Over the years. What's the temperature like in the police department when an officer gets killed? Let's say from Denver or Houston or somewhere. What's the temperature in the police department? What was that like?
Well, you go on high alert. You go on high alert. You gotta make sure you got your vest on. Make sure you watch each other's back. Make sure you don't put yourself in a situation where that could possibly happen. But fortunately, many police officers really don't get shot in North, which is a great thing.
True. Okay. In closing, I want to ask you, how do you feel about New Jersey's carry laws as far as firearms are concerned versus other states like West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, places like that? How do you feel about that? And also, it's a known fact that in these other places where you're allowed to carry with, not so much red tape like New Jersey, there are less armed robberies and things like that. So how do you feel about New Jersey's laws versus other states, you know, carry and conceal laws, open carry, things of that nature?
I actually like New Jersey's law about the open carry and all that, because I don't think I would like to work in a police department where people are just open carrying. It's just like, that creates a very tense situation. Like, I don't want to go into Walmart in uniform working and guys are walking around Walmart with guns on their hips. Terrible idea. Terrible.
So you don't think that being like, okay, like for instance, like I know it's like that in West Virginia.
Right.
Because I lived out there. So like when they get pulled over, the cop has to ask them, do you have a firearm? Yeah, I have a firearm. Where is it? And I can also remember being in Detroit, in the hood, so to speak, and like a soul food takeout restaurant, and like everybody was holding.
Right.
So it was like a real uncomfortable environment. But like, do you think that prevents crimes? Like people will be less hesitant to rob somebody because they know you may have a gun also. Do you feel that way?
They might, but then it could be switched around where it could be like a shootout between two people, and now you got innocent people getting killed or getting shot. So I don't think it's a good idea, but the times we live in.
All right, this is the first installment of Badge Black Brick City. Do you have anything to say in closing?
Support the page. Log on. Peace.